Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to the #1 sports podcast, broadcasting Sundays at 9 a.m.-ish in Sacramento, California. Sports Talk 916. Now here are your hosts, Greg Bowl and Coach Greg Barroso.
Good morning, everybody. Happy NCAA basketball weekend. I'm starting to feel a little bit better. I had a 4-day flu that just seemed to wipe me out a little bit. I didn't get a whole lot done the last couple of days. So it's Sunday, and it's now time for our little shindig we call Sports Talk 916. I'm Coach Greg. That's Mr. Chief, Greg Bowl, right there. And together we're the two-headed monsters of Greg that we call Sports Talk 916. Welcome aboard. What's happening, man?
Not much, man. How are you?
Good. A little tired today.
Expected. You getting over the flu?
Yeah. So, what about you? How you doing? How's your week?
Good. Busy. Oh, that's terrible. We ran out of coffee creamer this morning, so.
How'd you do last weekend?
Good. Spartanus was fun. Double weekend was tough. Really fucking sore the next 4 days after, but it was a good time. Helped a lot of people out. Got out and did a lot out there on the course. I don't know if you saw the video of us helping.
I did. That was very cool.
Young guy named Adrian, and he was out there by himself, and was ready to quit after the first obstacle, and we told him no, and got him through a couple more together. Me and my buddy Josh, and turns out he did end up finishing the race, and it was pretty cool to see and hear. And hopefully, it's the first step for him to change things. Was
that his first race?
Yeah, first race. 27 years old, pushing 440 pounds, looking to.
Holy cow!
He's looking to change his life, and he started out there by himself on that Sunday afternoon, and hopefully, down the road he'll turn it around for himself. So it was a pretty cool experience, really cool. When he was up on those rings, right before he got to the end of it, the crowd around us, everyone started cheering for him, and he looked at me and was like, "Are they cheering for me?" And I was like, "Hell yeah, they're cheering for you!" And his face lit up, and he got super excited, and it was a really cool experience. So, but yeah, good time, and now start prepping for the next one. So
cool.
Should be interesting for sure. But yeah, so a lot of sports going on right now. NBA is getting ready for a playoff push. Baseball is getting ready for their season opener. Unless you're an A's or Mariners fan, we'll get to that here in a few minutes. So that's fucking stupid. Baseball said goodbye to a legend. Like I said, there's the NCAA tournament. There's all sorts of stuff going on. So we'll dive right into the thick of it. We'll start with the tournament. So far, a few of you guys joined us with the Sports Talk 916 pool, the pick 'em pool, and for bracketology. And so far, everyone that is in our pool still has their winners alive, which is rare. I think last year on like day 2, one of us lost our winners, which was a little bit crazy, but so far it's been kind of as expected as far as the tournament goes. A few 12s beat a couple 5s, a few 10s upset their opponents, but for the most part it's just been kind of going as planned. Have you been excited by the games? Have you been
I watched a few of them. I watched a lot on Thursday. I didn't watch as much on Friday and Saturday, but I watched a few of them. It's been some good basketball. There have been some exciting games.
A couple near upsets where you really forced you to tune in, especially on the first day. Who was it? Was it the Auburn game?
Yeah, it was the Auburn. Who was it? Auburn, and I actually watched the end of that game, and I had Auburn winning.
The Auburn New Mexico State game. That game, Auburn was in the first half was down big, and it looked like they were going to lose, and they ended up finding a way to come back and win. And
they tried every way they could to give that game away too. It was Thursday, much on Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, but that one was fun. There's a couple other good games. Have you had any would you call true sleeper teams or Cinderella story teams that you've been hoping to see make a run, or that you've been following along aside from your national champion pick, or are you just focused on your brackets right now?
I was really excited about Murray State. I wanted to see Ja play. I forget what his last name is.
It's all that matters. He's Ja to everybody.
Ja. I wanted to see him play, and I got to see him play a little bit. I was kind of disappointed they lost yesterday, or got their asses kicked yesterday. But I was excited about him. And let's see what other ones I got to see. That was really the number one team that I was excited about. I just kind of overall just kind of watching it. It's been pretty good. There's been some good stuff, and a lot of future NBA players out there too.
Good morning, fellas. What national day is it? Oscar wants to know.
I will let you know, Oscar.
Keep him hooked. Ja Morant is the guy's name, and he is going to be a stud, like TJ just said. Let's see here. So how did you do on day one of your bracket? Let's start with the West.
Day one, I did good. Day two, not so good. Day three, horrible. So I had pretty much on university. I picked Nevada Arena to go to a couple of games. And
so did I. That didn't happen.
And other than that, in the West, that was the only game I missed in the first round. In the West, I always thought I was doing pretty good.
Yeah. So in the West, I had Syracuse beating Baylor. They were upset. And then I had Nevada, like you said. I actually had Nevada going all the way to the Final Four. That was like my Cinderella push in the West. And they're not truly a Cinderella team coming in at seventh, but I just had them with a couple upsets, along the way, and then ultimately losing to FSU in the Final Four. But everyone else in the West I was clean on. In the East, Mississippi State kind of screwed me over. I had them going into the second round, eventually losing to third round, eventually losing to Duke. I had Yale as my East bracket Cinderella until they met Michigan State in the third round. But they lost to LSU, so they didn't get the upset I expected.
And I had Louisville. I had Louisville beating Minnesota too.
Yeah, no, I had Minnesota right. In the South bracket, case I was so close to taking UC Irvine just because it was UC Irvine. It's a local team. I was like, you know what, I should take them.
Right.
And I was like, there's no way they're beating K-State. It's just not going to happen. And sure enough, they do. Or they end up beating them, which messed me up because I had K-State going all the way to the Sweet 16, or I'm sorry, the Elite 8. No, third round would be Sweet 16, right? 32, 16, yeah. So I had K-State all the way through there, and then I had Cincinnati as a loss in the South bracket. And then the first day, other than Seton getting beat by Woff, whoever the fuck Woff is.
Wofford.
Whoever the fuck Wofford is. I had Seton Hall beating them, and they lost that. So that was my only blemish on day one in the Midwest. And then, Kansas lost to Auburn. I had Kansas beating Auburn, so that kind of screwed me over. But like I said, my Final Four is still intact except for, or my Elite 8 is still intact except for Nevada, and my Final Four is still perfect. So what is your Final Four as it stands?
Hold on, now? I got there's some ones in here that I messed up on too. So I had Cincinnati winning 2 games. And they lost. I had Wisconsin winning 2 games, and they lost. And my big loss was I had Villanova going to the Final Four, and they just got embarrassed yesterday. So my Elite Eight is
No, what's your Final Four?
my Final Four was Villanova, North Carolina, Gonzaga, and Duke. So I'm still got a chance because I have Duke and North Carolina in the championship game. So,
And you have Duke winning it all, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so my Final Four, I have Virginia and UNC coming out of the right side, with UNC going to the championship game, and I have Duke and Florida State on the left, with Duke winning, and I have the national champion set at North Carolina. It's pretty crazy, and TJ, since you're on, I'm a little bit disappointed in you for not getting your bracket in. He signed up. He was the first to sign up, and he's the only one that didn't get his bracket filled out. But
hey, what were you doing? What were you thinking when you picked the score of the final game at 97?
I don't know, 96 total.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know.
That's a game in the 40s.
Yeah, I know.
Score.
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't thinking about it, but it is what it is. No one else has UNC as the national champion, so a tiebreaker
Is it really going to matter?
Doesn't really matter. So it'll come down to you, Sarah, and Tom if Duke wins with the tiebreaker. Sarah and Tom both have 144 as their tiebreaker, and you have 177. And then James has Gonzaga as his national champion, so his tiebreaker is irrelevant as well.
Right.
And then my mom has Virginia as her national champion. So as long as it's not Duke, the tiebreaker is completely irrelevant. So there's nothing to worry about there. As of right now with the standings, I don't even know how the hell it works as far as points go in this thing. I was in first place, tied with you after day one. Day two, I faltered. James and Tom are tied at 38 points. Sarah's at 36. I'm at 35. You're at 33, and then 23 at the bottom. So it should be an interesting week of basketball. Is it today or is it off today? How does that usually
they're playing today? They play today. They're off Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Gotcha. But yeah, it definitely should be some fun basketball as it starts getting down to the bigger matchups and the bigger schools.
And I'm really hoping for a Duke North Carolina final game because that would be huge. That would be a fun game to watch.
Yeah, it would be really good because we need to make sure that we get that true Zion and UNC matchup that everyone's been wanting, and unfortunately Nike had other plans.
Right.
So definitely got to see how that's going to play out, but that should be a really fun.
I have another new favorite player too.
Mm-hmm.
Taco.
Is his name Taco?
His name is Taco. Taco is 7 feet 6 inches tall.
Holy shit.
Plays for University of Central Florida. And he's not a stiff. He can actually play. And they're playing Duke today. So it's going to be fun to watch this 7'6" monster play against Zion because they're going to get matched up quite a bit. It's going to be fun to watch him. So yeah, 7'6". His hands are about this big.
Did you listen to Peaches and Doug on Friday when they had Scott Pollard on?
No.
So Scott Pollard, when we talked to him a year or so ago, Jesus, talking is hard. We asked him about his college basketball track record because he's actually been really good when it comes to predicting college players. And
right.
He said that the Kings should have passed on Ben McLemore. They never should have taken Thomas Robinson. He said that Bagley is going to be the best player coming out of the draft this year. Yeah, UC Irvine and Oregon should be a really good game. I'm wearing my Ducks shirt today. And so he's been pretty much spot on. So they asked him yesterday about Zion Williamson and what they think about him. And Pollard basically said that, he got to see Zion play last year in a game, and the kid is an absolute, freak of nature talent-wise. and ability-wise, but he doesn't think that he's going to be, and he kept prefacing with, I hope I'm wrong, but conventional wisdom tells me that Zion Williamson is not going to last in the NBA. And yeah, Nick, I agree. Don't count out Kentucky. He said that Zion is shorter than advertised. He's bigger than advertised. He looks more like a lineman than he does a basketball player.
Yeah.
He said that when he walks, his toes point outward and his knee or inward, one of the two, and his knees touch, which is a concern typically for someone that's jumping and running and everything like that. He's 6'8" and 270 pounds. And he thinks he's going to be a great talent, but he's concerned about those physical attributes that typically don't equate to longevity when it comes to the style of play that Zion has. And he followed that up with, conventional wisdom says this. However, when you watch him play, he throws conventional wisdom out the window, and he's completely like the anomaly of the rule. And I thought that was interesting because so many people, let's see, Chris says he's wrong on this one, said that about Steph and Trey being too short. I never heard him say anything about Trey and Steph being too short, especially since they're guards. But, if you look at it with the, excuse me, with the, just the facts on paper about his body style and his makeup and those different things, I find it interesting because so many people in the media and in the league, and fans, they're so hyped about Zion Williamson's ability on the court that they're not looking at some of the other intangibles that are going to go with it. And what Pollard was saying, which I found to be the most interesting, and I think should be the biggest concern, is this kid's coming into the league already around 270 pounds, right? That's not ideal for the rigors of the NBA to be that big, to be running and jumping and having that much pressure on him. And he made a point that he's not going to have someone following him around, telling him what to eat and when to work out and how to maintain this lifestyle of you get everything you want essentially for free, and you need to be able to, manage the temptations and all this other stuff. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And I'm wondering if more of that is going to start coming out as the draft gets closer and the combine happens, and, more teams are interviewing him, and, he's going to be the number one overall pick. There's no doubt about that, in anybody's mind. But I wonder how much of a concern or how much focus teams are going to have to put on, especially getting him into better NBA shape.
So I'm just looking up LeBron's 6'8", 250.
Right. And LeBron is absolutely shredded and in the greatest shape, he's been in. And he's at the, obviously, I almost made the dumbest statement ever. He's at the oldest he's ever been. Well, no shit. But he's getting better as time progressed. And,
right.
LeBron didn't come in, at 250. LeBron came in at 230, 227-ish. And LeBron over the years has steadily put on the proper amount of weight and muscle and kept himself healthy. And, I wonder how Zion's going to be able to pull that off to get that body NBA ready, because, sure, he reminds me a lot of like Blake Griffin when he came in the league. He can jump and excite people out of the gym, but his shot's not that great, not that great looking. It goes in, which is really weird, but he has a really bad, when you break it down mechanically, he has a bad shot that he just knows how to make the damn thing. It's not Lonzo Ball or Sean Marion bad, but it's, it's definitely not good.
Right.
So like there's so many things that point to him not being, if you looked at him without ever seeing a highlight, let's just say you watched him in practice, go through warmups, you look at the kid and go, man, he must just be one of those filler players. Then you see him play and you're like, holy shit, like that's the same guy. But
Right.
I wonder how much of that's going to translate to an issue in the NBA, or if teams are going to be able to prey on that a little bit.
His strength is how he dominates around the basket. And
Right.
I'm not sure that is going to translate, because the other thing is he's just so much bigger and stronger than everybody he plays against.
Right.
He's not, there's going to be guys that are just as big, maybe not quite as strong, but they're going to be just as big as he is and able to push him around, which he's never had. He's never had anybody push him around. I think the other thing that he has for his size is his quickness and his ability to get off the ground fast.
Right.
It's the kid out of Arizona State, Ayton, last year. The thing they talked about was his second jump, how quick he could land and get back up in the air after that first jump. And I think Zion has some of those same qualities. He's got quickness. He's got the jumping ability for someone his size. It's easy. I mean, it won't be that hard for him to take off 20 pounds. I mean,
it shouldn't be that hard for him to take out 20 pounds. You don't. No. I mean, ideally.
I mean, he does look. I mean, he's not shredded like LeBron is. He's not shredded like Ayton was last year. But it's there, and I think. I think that you get him in a situation where he can spend 3 or 4 months doing nothing but condition, nothing but focus on him getting into the kind of shape that he needs to get into. I think he's going to come in. If he's at 280 right now, my bet is he's going to come in at 265, 260. And I think that'll be a good weight for him. And he'll be able to maintain his quickness, maybe even get a little quicker, maintain his jumping ability. And he's not going to be as dominant in the NBA as he is in college, and definitely as he was in high school. But I think he's going to be. I think there's a potential for him to be an all-star a couple years down the road. And and if he doesn't, and he's the first pick, and he goes to New York, or I have a sleeper team for the first pick too. Let him waste a first pick on him.
Yeah, well, that's what TJ just said. If you had the first overall pick this year, do you take Ja or do you take Zion?
I think it depends on what the makeup of your team is. If you already have an effective point guard, an all-star caliber point guard, then you don't take Ja, you take Zion. Somebody like New York, they just need a player.
They just need everybody.
I would probably go with Zion as my first pick.
Keith, I agree with you. River Cats announcer guy, Keith. Ja Morant is going to be the real deal Holyfield. I agree 100%. I think he's going to end up being.
I do too.
Zion has an opportunity to be the best player out of the draft down the road once he figures things out, and I think he adapts his game because, like you said earlier, the bigs in the NBA are going to bully him around a lot more than the bigs in college are. But I think Ja is going to be the one that shines the brightest quicker. He may not shine the brightest overall when that draft is all said and done, but I think he'll be the one that shines quicker. One other thing that Pollard said about last year's draft, and you mentioned Ayton and his ability to hit the ground and jump. Bagley's got the quickest second jump in the league, and Pollard said that, if he was a general manager who had the first overall pick last year, he was taking Marvin Bagley over everybody in last year's draft. It didn't matter who the team was. And an interesting fact that he had about Ayton and Bagley is that Ayton is what he is. He's not going to get any better. He'll get better, but he's not going to add anything to his game. This is what you're getting from him. Right. He's going to be a low post guy. He's going to be a 10 and 12 guy, a 16 and 15 guy, whatever it might be, block a couple shots, but he's not going to, there's never going to be anything in his game that causes defenses to have to scheme differently against him. The tape's already out. That's what you're going to get. Marvin Bagley is going to continue to develop his game. He's going to continue to work on the outside shot. He's going to be able to work on that 15-foot elbow jumper. He's going to be able to work on the three. He's going to get stronger. He's going to get faster. He's going to get better. And Marvin Bagley, as time progresses, is going to continue to improve to the point where, he's going to be one of those players that defenses literally are planning against, not just another player on the court. And I think that's super exciting to hear as well. And, I think Bagley, minus the injury this year, if he didn't have those two injuries, I think we're looking at Marvin Bagley in that same conversation with Trae Young, who's, come on strong for Rookie of the Year, and Luka Doncic at the end of the day.
Right.
So
I think there's another player that people aren't paying attention to in this coming draft who plays on the same team as Zion, and that's R.J. Barrett. Coming into the season, a lot of those guys said that he was going to be that Zion was going to get all the headlines, but in the end, R.J. Barrett is probably going to be the best player out of the draft, and I can see a whole. Bagley argument for R.J. Barrett, where the talent's there. He's going to do nothing but get better. I mean, he's an all-around player. I think he'll probably end up going to the third pick. I think Morant's passed him up for the second pick, but watch out for whoever picks up R.J. Barrett because they're going to get a good player who's got a lot of upside.
So who do you think? Who you said you have a sleeper for number 1 overall pick? Who do you have sneaking in there?
I have a conspiracy theory like you would not believe.
Cleveland,
Los Angeles Lakers.
They gonna have a lottery pick?
They're out of the playoffs.
I guess you're right. Oh. I just can't see another LeBron team having a bad year and then jumping into the number 1 overall pick.
Would you be surprised if it happened?
Would I be surprised? No. I can see them landing 2 or 3, though. I can see them jumping so far up there that they're gonna get one of those top 3 players to make LeBron happy. I just don't think the NBA could survive them getting the number 1 overall pick and all the fans just blowing up on that.
That would be great, though. I mean, can you imagine the conspiracy and all the bullshit that'll come down? That's what I want.
Yeah, that would be absolutely crazy. Oh my God, that's so good. Fuck that terrible coffee of mine. I know you don't drink Red Bulls very often, or I don't think you do at all.
I don't.
But if you ever try this one, it is the bee's knees. It's the peach flavor.
Is that the Grant Napier flavor?
Yeah, it's the peaches flavor. It's Grant Napier in a can. That sounds disgusting. But yeah, so it should be interesting to see the tournament. It'll be fun to see those guys showcased at the very end of it. That's kind of where you start seeing like those sleeper players too, right? You see that 4th, 5th, 6th pick shine. You're like, damn, that's the guy that I really want. I don't care about the top 3. I know I'm not getting a top 3 pick, but that's the guy that I want out of this draft. And that's gonna be the fun stuff to watch here. Let's see here. We can talk a little bit about the Sacramento Kings.
So did the Kings? The Kings don't have. They're giving up their first round draft pick no matter what, right? Isn't top 3? It goes to one team and it goes to Boston. Do you remember how that works?
That I'm not sure. I can figure it out though. Here, hold on. Yeah, I know for a fact we don't have a first round pick, but
right. Not that we need one. I mean,
no, we don't need another young player. That's the problem. It's, we definitely don't need one. It could go to the Sixers or the Celtics.
Right. I think top 3 goes to the Sixers, and anything else goes to, top 3 I think goes to Sixers. Anything else goes to the Celtics.
I believe that's how it is. Yes. But yeah, so the Kings at this point, they definitely don't need to get younger. So a first round pick, there's not anyone in this draft that's going to help this team immediately where they would be drafting. Even if they traded back into the first round with somebody, like they're not going to get much out of this draft. They'll get a second.
The player that I think would help them the most is Barrett, but there's no way they're going to get him. There's no way they can trade in the top 3.
Yeah, probably not going to happen unless they gave up one of those, one of our young pieces. But hey, TJ, don't showbiz me. We're going to get to that here in a second. They definitely need help, and a lot of Kings fans, now that the playoffs are pretty much over, I think, they haven't been statistically eliminated. I think the Kings have to go undefeated the rest of the way, and I think Oklahoma City or someone has to lose out the rest of the way or something like that to make it in, which we know is not going to happen. But a lot of Kings fans now are starting the phone calls to Grant and Doug and the Lowdown and Carmichael Dave and all these guys, and they're starting to really ask about free agents and needs. And everyone talks about, oh, we need a wing, and Grant and Doug were like, have you not been paying attention? Harrison Barnes is the perfect fit for this team at the wing at 3. Mm-hmm. His defense, his length, his ability to score. They went over his stats from the last 7 games, and his shooting has been over 50% from 3 for the last 6 or 7 games. He's been over 50% overall shooting. His defense has been there. And everyone asks, the question is always, what about center? Do you keep Willie Cauley-Stein? Do you do this? Do you do that? The interesting thing to me is no one's brought up the fact that the Kings have one bigger need than I think even at center right now, because they're going to go after a center. But the one big glaring need that this team needs is a backup point guard. Right. One that can either change the pace and give us that 2-punch, attack where you have the speed, the speed attack with Fox, and then maybe a slow it down package so you can kind of work 2 different games. Frank Mason can't crack the lineup. Yogi Ferrell is I think he's more of a 2 guard than anything. Bogey's been able to play the backup point a little bit, but his season this year has been atrocious. They got to go after a backup point, and then we'll get to the Willie Cauley-Stein argument here in a moment. But here's an interesting question from Josh Zimmerman: would you trade Bogey in a package for a top 3?
I would, in a heartbeat. It's just the problem is, are any of those teams in the top 3 going to be willing to take Bogey? Yeah, I just don't think that's enough for a top 3. You're going to have to throw in a Fox or a
Giles,
or somebody like that, and I don't think you can do it. There's 4 players I think that we could package for a top 3 player, and I don't want to give up any one of them.
Nope. I agree 100%.
Yeah, so again, it's great to say let's trade somebody, but you got to find somebody who is willing to take on that player, and is it worth it? I always look at it this way: is if you trade somebody for a top 3 pick, if they were in the draft, would you take him in that position? Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to take Bogey at 1, 2, 3. I probably wouldn't take him in the maybe 9th or 10th, 8th, somewhere in there. I just don't think there's not that value for that player.
Nick Hicks hit it on the head. No one is going to give up a top 3 pick for Bogey.
Yeah,
Josh also said, what about an IT return? Do you think Isaiah Thomas could fill in as a backup point guard on this team and fit the need? Or he's playing really well for Denver. He's, back from the hip. The hip looks to finally be fixed. Is that a player that for the right price comes in and fills that need at backup point? Because then you get scoring and production. Does
he want to be a backup?
Yeah, that's the big question. Is he willing to come in and be a backup?
Yeah, is he willing to play backup? And I think Isaiah still thinks he can start. I think Isaiah still thinks he can be an MVP in this league.
And I think Isaiah Thomas still can start. Personally, let's see. Josh says, personally, I feel Bogey is the odd man out on this team. He just doesn't really fit as well as everyone else. See, I disagree with the last part there. I think he fits fine. I think the chemistry and the ability that he brings to the table is great for this team. I think Bogey is a case right now of he's burning the candle on both ends. He's playing too much European ball in the offseason. He's obviously playing through the rigors of an NBA season. The running, all the running that's going along with it. with this team this year, I think is wearing him down. And, I was really hopeful that, this would be the season that he takes the off season to recover and get better, with the foot and with all this stuff he's had going on. I think that foot's still bothering him more than they're leading on. And unless something changes, all the press that's coming out for FIBA this off season, it shows that Bogey's playing for his hometown or home country team, and it's going to be playing against the United States this year. So, it doesn't look like he's going to be taking any time off from international play, and I think that's ultimately what's hurting Bogdan Bogdanovic at this time, is that he's playing too much basketball, and he needs to relax a little bit, and I just don't see that happening. So that concerns me going forward. And it's somewhat unfortunate that the NBA, teams can't be like, hey, why don't you, stop? What the hell? Why are you on here 3 times? We have a 3-headed monster now here. Hold on. All right. The one that you're moving, we'll get rid of that one. There we go. That was interesting. So, like I was saying, what was the last thing you heard me say? Because I don't want to repeat everything. Can you hear me, Greg? Greg. Damn it, Rosa. Hold on. Rosa's broken. Matt Pentecost. Can you hear me? All right, he left completely. Here we go. Bogey hasn't played well towards the latter part of the season, but I thought he played well at the beginning. He did the same thing last year. Yeah, and that's what the thing is. I think he's just slowing down. He's burning out a little bit. So we'll definitely have to wait and see, how he bounces back to see if he can figure that out. The other thing though is, and I really want Greg to be on for this part. Let's see if I can get him back in here real quick here. It's the Willie Cauley-Stein argument. The good old Willie Cauley-Stein. He's earning his keep. He's, last night someone on the Kingdom last night posted, about giving Willie a deal, and Greg, can you hear me? Yes, I can. Talk about Willie Cauley-Stein, and last night someone posted on the Kingdom about how much do you pay Willie Cauley-Stein next season, and my comment to that was, you give him $1 million or $100 million for every rebound he had last night. And it's unbelievable to me that Willie Cauley-Stein is still even considered as a player that this team wants. Like, the fact of the matter is, he's just not good. And he's lazy, and I just don't get it. Like, your job is to be a center and play around the rim. Last night, let's go through some of these players here. Let's see. One year, $44,000. Yeah, give him a minimum wage contract.
Right.
So, does it show me minutes on here? It doesn't. So, Kosta Koufos last night, I believe, only paid like 10 minutes. He had 4 points, 4 rebounds, 2 offensive rebounds, 1 assist. Bogdanovic had no rebounds last night. De'Aaron Fox had 4. Harrison Barnes 6. Marvin Bagley 11. Buddy Hield 7. Willie Cauley-Stein last night, he played roughly 23 minutes, I think it was. 20. He was at 16 minutes with 18 minutes with 6:16 to go in the game. So roughly 24 minutes in the game. Listen to this amazing stat line. 3 points, 1 assist, 1-for-1 field goal. Oh, there it is. 17 minutes he played last night. I'm sorry. 17 minutes. He had 3 personal fouls, a block, and a steal. No rebounds.
Rebounds?
Not 1 rebound last night. Kosta Koufos played 12 minutes and had 4 rebounds. Nemanja Bjelica, listen to this stat line last night. 13 points, 5 assists. He played 35 minutes last night. He had 1 block. He had 1 steal. He had 1 turnover. He had 1 turnover. Oh, Willie had 2 turnovers, by the way. He was -8 on his plus-minus. Bielitsa was a +7. Bielitsa had 13 points and 17 boards last night.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Hey, Willie, like there were so many times I was watching the game, and I watched the third and fourth quarter last night, and there were so many times where someone would go for a rebound, and you would see purple or white jerseys and purple, because the Suns were wearing purple, charging the ball, and Willie Cauley-Stein just standing there looking at it, watching it bounce away, watching it, go over his head. It's like zero effort last night at all. And
so I went to the game on what was it, Wednesday night? The game that they had an amazing fourth quarter meltdown and got outscored. Game? Yeah. So I went to that game, and there's one play that I remember in particular, and we were sitting in the end zone, kind of at club level. So they're pretty good seats to be able to see the entire floor from up above. And there's one play where shot goes up and Willie's boxing out, probably kind of almost at the elbow. And the ball bounced right in front of him, and he didn't even go for it. Yeah. He just stood there. And I looked at James, who was down for the weekend, and just said, what's he doing? I mean, that's his job to go for it. And he just stood and watched as the ball bounced on the ground.
Right.
I think the problem with Willie is he has 2 or 3 games like last night, and then he comes up with a 13-point, 18-rebound game, and people go, well, maybe there's a chance. And he's got the ability to do it. He's got the potential to do it. The problem is, we've talked about this before, I don't think his head's in the game. I think he'd much rather be concentrating on his fashion and updating his face tattoos and going out and socializing than being a basketball player. I don't think he wants it. He wants the payday, and he wants to get the accolades of, like, when he has a good game like he did the night you went. He had a good game that night.
Yeah, he had a great game when we went on Thursday night. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. So just to, I think somebody's got to either wake him up, but I think I hate to say this, but I think his time's done. Again, another thing we've talked about over and over and over again is you don't need a dominant center to be to win an NBA championship. In fact, more times than not, there isn't a dominant center. You win with a Bill Weddington. You win with somebody who's serviceable, who will get you those 10 rebounds, might score 7 or 8 points, but is a force in the middle. And that's just not Willie. It's just not.
Well, and TJ makes a great point. He says he does a lot of standing around. I think a lot of teams know that and pounce on that. Chris Levine, he misses point blank layups. It's unreal. What's even crazier, I looked up the other day, and he's like 16th in the NBA in field goal percentage. That blew my mind. He's always smiling even after he makes a terrible play. Yeah, like last night. So last night, after that, he boxed out nobody. Like, he got into a box out, position, and no one was there, which I thought was hilarious. And then he comes down the court. Ball gets into the corner with Bielitsa. Bielitsa throws up a beautiful head fake. I don't remember who it was that ran out on him, but almost jumped into the damn stands. Like, the head fake was so clean. Goes driving in, and that you could just tell by the angle. You could just tell by the angle that Bielitsa's taking. He's like tiptoeing the sideline. He's behind the backboard, and he gets ready to like pull up for a shot. Willie turns to like get ready for a rebound, and Willie's guy goes for him. So Bielitsa does like this pristine wraparound pass around the defender right to Willie's waist, bounces off his hands, goes out of bounds. And you could read Willie's lips and said, my bad, didn't think it was coming. What? Like, you can't tell by the angle that Bielitsa's taking on the shot. There's no way he's taking a shot from behind the backboard on the baseline with, I believe it was Ayton jumping at him. You didn't know the ball was coming your way and you bounced out of bounds. And then just like what Matt Pentecost just said, he just starts smiling about it when the ball goes out of bounds and kind of like laughs it off and just trots back up the court. Like, no, you need to be pissed at yourself. Stop being so damn happy about everything.
Yeah. He just doesn't care. I mean, I don't think he's in it to be on a winner. I think he's in it for a paycheck. And again, he's got all the potential in the world. It's just not happening.
Yeah, I'm trying.
And what I'm waiting for is if he does get his shit together and he's on another team, how many people start going, "I told you we shouldn't have traded Willie because now he's an NBA All-Star."
Yeah, Jesus Christ! Can you imagine?
So
the other thing I wanted to bring since we're talking about,
do you think that the answer at center is already on the roster?
are you talking Bagley?
Yeah.
No, I think you got to go out and get another. You got to get a rim protecting center. I think Bagley's going to be our 4, or even our 3, he can interchange with Barnes and Giles in the 3 and 4 positions. I think you got to go out earlier. Someone made a comment here that said, who was it? Josh Zimmerman. I would love to see DeAndre Jordan in the Kings uniform for a year or 2. I would love to see DeAndre Jordan as the center of this team. He's basically a tough Willie Cauley-Stein. And I think that would be great. He doesn't even play with any passion or emotion. I hate that. I agree. Nick Hicks. Willie's mindset is backwards. He wants the money first when really the way the world works is you show your worth. But even in a contract year where he's had multiple comments about getting paid, his efforts and energy is fleeting. It's so frustrating. Exactly.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And the other thing too is why with Willie Cauley-Stein, if he's not rebounding and blocking shots, why is he on the floor? Because offensively, unless he's able to make a break for the rim, it's 4-on-5 offense. If he grabs the ball anywhere other than on an alley-oop, defenses fall off of him. They know he's not looking to shoot. They know he's not looking to score. All he's going to do is turn and find a guard and put the ball back out. There's no threat whatsoever with Willie Cauley-Stein on the floor in the offensive sets.
And that was obvious. The game that I went and saw the other night, it was obvious. There were shots inside the key that a 7-footer with his jumping ability and his athletic ability should have easily gotten to the hoop and easily made. And he was kicking it out. It was as frustrating a game from him as I've ever seen.
It's almost bad. Instantaneous too. The second the ball hits his hands, he looks away from the rim and he looks for the pass.
Yeah,
I equate it to. It's funny, but I equate it to like, let's say you're playing like NBA 2K on Xbox with your buddy, right? And your buddy is beating you, or it's just one of those games where you can't pull away, and he's like, "Hold on, I got to go take a piss real quick." So you grab his controller, and you switch his button layout, and you switch the shoot button to pass. And the second he gets the ball and he's wide open, he goes to hit shoot and he passes it, and he's like, "What was that?" And he keeps doing it because the buttons are all messed up because the mapping is different. Whoever's controlling Willie Cauley-Stein's head has a pass first, I don't even want to shoot the ball because I'm going to embarrass myself mentality. And I think that's more of an issue because defenses can focus on Bagley. They can focus on Giles. They can make these different, moves on the team because they know that Willie's going to be a 100% non-factor.
Yeah.
And, it's super frustrating. And on defense, they know that he's soft as hell too. They can just go right at him.
And again, going back to that New Jersey game, and Matt Pentecost was at the game that night, so he'll. And we talked about this the other day. New Jersey ran this backdoor pick.
You mean
for
Brooklyn?
their center? Probably
Brooklyn.
9 times.
Brooklyn,
yeah. Ran this backdoor pick. Probably, it had to be at least 7, 8, or 9 times. And it resulted in a wide open slam dunk with not anybody even near him enough to make him have to work to score the ball. And that's all Willie. I mean, that was Willie's assignment. And they just kept running this pick, and it was like, okay, they're going to run the backdoor pick again. They're going to run the backdoor pick again. And it was, if two guys who've never played a lick of basketball other than junior high can recognize the fact that they're going to run the same play over and over and over again, you would think that somebody who's 7 feet tall and aspires to be a max player should be able to recognize that play and stop it. And he just couldn't do it.
I agree 100%. And it's one of those things where it's like, come on, man, you got to. And if we want to keep nitpicking that damn Brooklyn game, just look how easily D'Angelo Russell got to the rim on demand. It was like, I'm going to drive this time, boom, done. And it's crazy to think that there's points in our season right now where you look at this team and go, I would really rather have Kosta Koufos on the court playing defense because he at least puts his body in there. And someone else last night I saw it somewhere and I don't remember where it was, but someone asked, if you could bring back a Kings forward to replace Willie Cauley-Stein that he was teammates with at one point or another, who would you bring back? And it was funny because I thought my post was going to just get me just reamed, and a lot of people actually agreed with me, which I thought was weird. So I'll ask you before I give my answer. If you could bring back one player that Willie Cauley-Stein has played with at the same position, either power forward or center, who would you bring back to replace him under the same contract that he's currently on and just basically just swap him out for somebody? And as you know, most of the consensus answer was DeMarcus Cousins, which is stupid because DeMarcus plays about as much defense as Willie Cauley-Stein does. So who would you bring back that would fill that role right now on this team and be more productive, or would you rather have in there than Willie Cauley-Stein playing center for the Sacramento Kings?
First thought, Hassan Whiteside.
Really? They didn't play together though.
Well, okay.
But I mean that's a good one. But my first
that's somebody who was on the team that I think is a better version of Willie Cauley-Stein. At least this, what he's developed into.
Not for Whiteside as well. My answer was Jason Thompson. I would rather have Jason Thompson filling that role than Willie Cauley-Stein right now because Thompson, he would give a little bit more offense, not as much. I mean, more, but not enough to really take the ball out of anyone else's hands. But with Jason Thompson, there was something that you're going to get every single minute he was on the floor, no matter what was happening. That was hard work. He was gritty. He was in there. He was getting rebounds. He put the effort in that you don't see, from Willie Cauley-Stein. And as much as I was happy that Jason Thompson left, at the end of the day, I would welcome Jason Thompson back if I had to choose between him and Willie Cauley-Stein right now, just because you're going to get effort and you're going to get energy.
Yeah, but you're going to lose that athletic ability that Willie Cauley-Stein has.
So we're going to lose 2 alley-oops a game. Jason Thompson's going to make 4 points, the ability to hit that jump shot that he had. So it's really going to be a wash. I mean, other than excitement.
But that's what we need. You don't need a center that can take a jump shot. You need a center that's going to be at the rim.
Right, but what I'm saying is that you're going to just replace him with someone that's going to be – I would much rather give up the alley-oops and the player at the rim for some defense and some rebounding. Jason Thompson, more than anything, is going to get you 8 rebounds a game. Just by nature, he liked going for the damn ball.
Yeah.
I mean, Willie Cauley-Stein he just collected a check. And it's really, really frustrating.
And he wants a bigger check.
Yeah, and he wants a huge check, which I don't see how he's going to get it. Someone's going to pay him, though, which is going to be ridiculous. I wish I was at the game last night.
Let me ask you this. Do you just – because he's a free agent, right?
He's a restricted free agent.
So do you make a qualifying offer?
And fear that he accepts it?
Yeah, or do you do a sign and trade?
If someone's willing to sign and trade with them, I think you sign and trade with them. But your qualifying offer better be low as fuck. It better be super low because I'm not risking giving him. I mean, it better be around the $10 million a year mark. I know he wants 20 or more. The way he's been playing lately, if he's anything over $12 million a year, it's too much money. I just don't see him making that much money. I really wish I was at the game last night because I would have loved to hear the reaction to Jimmer Fredette hitting the floor last night for Phoenix. See if Kings fans cheered him or booed him, or if it was just impartial.
How did he do? How did he play?
I'm not sure. I can look it up, but
I didn't see 1 minute of the game, so I don't know.
I'm just glad that I'm kind of happy for him that he's back in the league. I mean,
I am too.
He put his work down in China. That boy's been doing big things down in China.
Oh yeah.
Harrison Barnes last night, 25.6 rebounds, 5 3-pointers made. It's Kings Lakers tonight, as we know. Where is the stats? Booker had 32. Booker killed us in the first half, so him only having 32 is pretty impressive. Jimmer Fredette. All right, here we go. Ready for this? So Jimmer played 4 minutes. He took 1 shot. He missed it. He had 1 foul. Jimmer Fredette had 2 rebounds last night. God damn it. Jimmer Fredette, all 6'0" of them, had 2 more rebounds than Willie Cauley-Stein had in the game. And he only played 7 minutes.
And shot just as well as he did.
Yeah, pretty much just shot just as well. Unbelievable. Kings Lakers tonight. Lakers are out of playoff contention, which is good. It's kind of nice to see the Lakers, not making it. Let's see what else is there.
7th year in a row. They've been 6th or 7th year in a row. They've been out of the playoffs.
And this will be the first time in 9 years that LeBron's not in the playoffs. Well, not in the finals.
Not in the finals.
One other thing I want to talk about, and I thought it was interesting. I can't find the direct quote because I don't know how he phrased it to find it. But Klay Thompson had an interesting quote the other day that I thought was completely perfect for Kings fans and sports fans alike, but mostly Kings fans, it seems, just because obviously we're entrenched in it here. But aside from calling the Kings, the Warrior fans, essentially bad fans for not having the energy inside Oracle that the team needs from time to time to get up for the game, especially early in the game, he basically said that the fans and the media are extremely fickle because everyone lives their life and their criticism and the way that they represent themselves as fans on a what have you done for me lately basis. It's game to game. If he's, essentially his comment was, you can go, you can, for example, James Harden, right? Harden had 29 games in a row where he scored 30 points or more, or 32 points games in a row, or whatever it was, right?
Right.
Everyone praises him. Imagine if James Harden was a Sacramento Kings fan. Or let's even take it a step further. Let's go back to Willie Cauley-Stein. Let's say Willie, and it happens with Willie every single game. I don't need to make up a scenario where it's some kind of crazy stats. Based on Klay Thompson's quote and logic, fans are only happy with what you did in the moment that they're in.
Oh, absolutely.
Their moment dictates their emotion. And a perfect example of that is Willie Cauley-Stein. If you go through and you watch any Kings game and then go to social media, if Willie has 15 rebounds, everyone's like, oh, pay the man, pay him. Right. And then last night, he has 0 rebounds, and everyone's like, oh, get rid of him. He's soft. He's terrible. Now, tonight against the Lakers, if he has 12 rebounds, everyone's going to be like, there's the Willie we love. Woo! It's like, and basically Klay's thing was,
I got the quote right here. I have the quote.
Oh, you found it? Go ahead and find it. Go for it.
So I have it. So it's let's see. Instead of taking the loss on his chin like the 3-time NBA champion that he is, Thompson pointed the finger at the Oracle Arena crowd, citing the fans' lack of enthusiasm as a contributing factor. And this was the loss against Phoenix.
Okay.
His quote is, I expect our crowd to be a little more into it, too. Like, I know it's not the playoffs, but it's our last go-around at Oracle. At least you can stand up or something when we make a good play, especially in the beginning. We need that energy, especially this time of the year. It's hard to conjure up energy every single night because you're looking forward to the playoffs and that run. So basically what he's saying is, hey, you know what, fans, you have a job too, and you're not doing it. And this is our last run in Oakland. there's a lot. Basically, I think what he was saying is there's a lot of you guys that aren't going to be able to afford to go to our games anymore because the prices are going to be crazy high. So, you need to do our job, and we need you right now because we're getting ready to make our fifth run in a row,
right,
into the finals, and they're not doing it. And he came back a couple of days later and
apologized. Yeah.
But
no, I saw that quote. There was another quote talking about like the media fuels the fire by scrutinizing game by game instead of looking at a block of games. And I think Kings fans need to take that to heart. It's like, instead of like ripping the team or ripping a player after one bad game, how about we look at like the previous week, like in schedule, right? They always do the last 10. Over the last 10, the team's 7-3 or they're 5-5 or whatever. I think fans should hold their criticism in 10-game blocks. Over the last 10 games, Willie Cauley-Stein sucks. Over the last 10 games, Willie Cauley-Stein was great. Like, let's not do this game-to-game emotional roller coaster because there's so much going on.
I mean, one of the things that drives me nuts about the fan sites is you can log on 5 minutes after every game, and it's who do we blame for this loss? Who's to blame for this loss? And it's nonstop. Every game, this game is on the coach. This game is on Willie. This game is on Marvin. This game is on, mostly it's the coach and Willie Cauley. But there's always got to be somebody to blame. And it's like, no, it's a team game. Willie Cauley-Stein didn't lose the game against Brooklyn. The team lost that game because they played like shit in the fourth quarter.
Right.
So it was a team loss. And, we always talk about, NFL games where somebody drops a pass in the last couple of minutes and drops a touchdown or fumbles and loses, the game is, they don't get a chance to come back. Every player to a T says we didn't lose the game in that one play.
Right.
That was just the end of the game. We lost that game all the way throughout it. And you can go back to that again. I'm going to pick on the Brooklyn game. Go back to that Brooklyn game. The Kings as a team lost that game in the fourth quarter from coach all the way down to 12th player on the bench. It was a team loss. And a majority of the time that's the case. And to sit there between that of who do we blame for this loss and, so-and-so is better than so-and-so. Those posters, they're stupid. It's like a sideline reporter asking a player, how do you feel after a certain play?
Right.
It's a stupid question. It's a stupid line. It's somebody who doesn't know sports trying to stir up something. And
what's funny too, what's more frustrating is those people that will say something like, this one's on Jaeger, or, Jaeger's rotation cost us the game here, whatever. Everyone's so quick to be like, yeah, rah, fire Jaeger, whatever. Well, in the game against Dallas, Jaeger's quick rotations kept the Kings in the game in the first half, and then his rotations in the second half, sealed the win for the Kings. Like he had really crisp rotations, everything was good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, someone posted, the night before the Brooklyn game, and it was like fire Jaeger, and that thing had like 1,000 comments on it. Someone posted Jaeger's rotations saved the game tonight. Coach's rotations won us the game. Like 2 likes, no responses. It's like everyone is so hell-bent on being negative that it really takes away from the positives. But here's a positive. Josh Zimmerman just said, I know it's small, but how does it feel to be the last team to be eliminated from playoff contention?
For this team, that's a huge success.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be nice to make the playoffs. And it's always nice
to have been out of playoff contention in January, given, what the expectations were.
Yeah. I mean, so for this team to be even in contention this late in the season and to have the amount of improvement that this team has shown in this, basically they've adopted a brand new style of playing this year. We haven't played like this before. Last year it was, Yeager trying to instill his defense, slow the ball, control the pace type of offense into this game or into this team, and it didn't fit. And they started the season in preseason playing that same way, and we all thought no. And they made the switch to the up tempo, and the leaps and bounds that this team is better than they were this time last year at any point is amazing. And that goes to coach. I mean, he's the one that's solely responsible for that. I don't think there's ever really been a team that's gone from 23 wins and up to 60 wins the next year.
Right.
And that's what I think some of these guys want.
Kings are at 36 wins right now, the most since 07, and have a chance. The Kings realistically have a chance to finish the season at 41-41, which is huge for this team.
And what have I said? What have I said all season? This team is a 500.
Yep.
This is a 500 winning percentage team. That's what they are. And the other thing I've said is, if we're having the same discussion next year, then heads will roll. Because if we're having the same discussion of, well, they're a 41 win team. No, this is a 50 win team next year.
Yeah, depending on how Vlade puts the pieces together, it should be a 50 win or more team.
And since his debacle trade in Philadelphia, when has he made a mistake? When has he made a bad trade or a pickup? I mean, he's been on a hot streak.
Without a doubt. Grant and Doug talked about it a little bit too. You know, the DeMarcus Cousins trade got us Buddy Hield.
Mm-hmm.
It got us Marvin Bagley. Mm-hmm. Essentially, it got us Harry Giles.
Mm-hmm.
And it got us, in a way, because the Kings win more games and don't fall in the standings as far as they do by getting rid of DeMarcus Cousins. It also got us De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah.
So it was definitely one of those deals where, if you look at it from the grand scheme of things, that was the franchise turning moment, which is funny because we were talking about that 2 years prior. But who knows? It's all said and done.
Hold on, before we go, I know we're kind of starting to run low on time, but kind of that prisoner of the moment, and Kings fans are infamous for this too, is the unabashed love for Iman Shumpert.
Right.
Shumpert is the reason that we didn't make the playoffs. Shumpert is the reason why this team isn't doing well. And I don't know what it is, why Kings fans fall in love with players, and as soon as they leave, think that they're the reason why the team heads in one direction or the other. But it's amazing that you can pretty much, any player that's ever been traded, it was a mistake, including what we just talked about with Cousins and all the players that we got from him or for him. I don't understand how one player who was definitely a role player that wasn't getting that much playing time can have that much of an effect on a team, where we're complaining that we got rid of him to upgrade to Harrison Barnes.
Right. And everyone looks at the actual details of the trade. Oh, we traded Shumpert for Alec Burks and a second-round pick. Well, basically, we traded Shumpert for a second-round pick. And if you really break down the whole thing, we traded Shumpert for Harrison Barnes. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
And that's how it breaks down. So definitely no problem with that. Before we get to your conversation topic, because I do want to hit that before we got to go. We got about, 10, 15 minutes max to go. I want to remind y'all that if you're looking to buy a home, sell a home, if you're looking to buy or refinance a home, you definitely want to give Albert Chavez a call from United Wholesale Mortgage, 916-230-1537. If you're not sure if you can buy and you want to have your numbers looked at and see what you need to do, Albert is the guy. He can walk you through all of that and help you out with the home buying process or the funding process. It's Albert Chavez, 916-230-1537. And before we move on to your little topic here, let's go ahead and hit your promo, since you have more information on there than I can remember.
If you or anyone you know is thinking about buying, selling, or investing in real estate, they deserve to have someone working with them that not only knows what they're doing, but will explain everything that happens along the way. That person would be me, Coach Greg Baroza of Keller Williams Realty. I have two goals. My first goal is to coach you through the buying and selling process, making it easy to understand and as stress-free as possible, which isn't easy sometimes. My second goal is to have fun doing it. Come be a part of my team. Let me coach you or anyone you know through the real estate process. Give me a call at 916-241-8068, and let's talk about how I can coach you through the real estate process. Let me ask you one question. Who do you know that's looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate that I should know right now? Again, that's Greg Baroza, Keller Williams Realty, 916-241-8068.
And one last thing before we get to your question. We're going to continue to use it, but I think we need a little bit of a moment of silence for the greatest sound clip in the history of our show. The 49ers parted ways with fifth round pick Bradley Pinion. He signed a 3-year deal with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And if you guys remember on that show following the draft, it was a Sunday evening, we're doing our recaps, and completely unscripted, unprompted. It just so happened that when myself, Eddie, and Greg were running through the drafts, Greg's call got the 5th round, and this beauty came to life.
A fucking punter!
We asked Greg who the 49ers took with their 5th round pick. Trent Baalke took
a fucking punter!
Bradley Pinion. So, Bradley, thank you for the greatest soundbite in Sports Talk Now history. And wish you well. I mean, he turned out to be a really good punter for the Niners. I don't know why they didn't keep him, but maybe they're going to take him.
Not worth the 5th round draft pick.
Not worth the 5th round pick. Anyways, let's get to your final question. And let's see how this pans out. I'm curious.
Yeah. So, you fucking.
Where is it? Stop. Okay.
So, you guys know James Hines is on here quite a bit and is a pretty active member of the show. Known him since we were in junior high school. So he was down for the week, and we were talking yesterday and just kind of shooting the shit. And I said, what would, if you had your choice between NBA basketball, Major League Baseball, and NFL football, and they're all on TV at the same time, or you have the ability to go to one of the games all at the same time. All of your teams are in the same virtual spot. They're all, first or second place in their division or whatever. Which one would you choose to watch? Which one would be it's like, and channel flipping isn't an option. You have to log on to one game and watch the game.
No split screens?
No split screens. Yeah. Which one would you watch?
So for me,
this is hard.
It's not for me. The second you asked it, my answer popped straight into my head. And that's baseball. I would choose to watch a 9-inning baseball game over the Kings, over the Giants, or over the Niners, over a hockey game. Because if I'm only allowed to watch one, I want the one that's going to last the longest. That's going to keep me entertained the most. And as long as the Giants are winning games, I mean, I watch them anyways. I mean, I think I missed 3 baseball games last season, even with as bad as the Niners or Giants were, whether it was listening to it on the radio, following it on my phone on like a stat tracker, like a play-by-play, or watched it on TV. I believe I legitimately missed 3 baseball games last year. And that was with the team being shitty. So if you're telling me that my team's in the hunt and they're good and, it's all of this is going on at the same time, I am 110% good with sitting down and watching a baseball game for 2.5 hours as opposed to an hour long or 3-hour football game. Or a 2-hour basketball game. I'm good with that. It would be baseball for me any day of the week, without a doubt.
Hey, it's funny. I said the same thing too. When it comes down to it, every year I'm more excited about the start of baseball season than anything else. You have to take fantasy football out of the equation because that always.
Oh, speaking of that, real quick, do you want to do a fantasy baseball league for the show? Do you do fantasy baseball?
I don't do fantasy baseball.
Well, fuck you do then.
I mean, I've never done it. I can do it, but
must be nice working from home. Yeah, Josh, it is. I'm not gonna complain. But I mean, even when I was in the office, I would have, one earbud in with the Giants game on the MLB app and listening to the game. So there's never been a moment where I haven't been able to find a way to get baseball in my ear or in my eyeballs.
Right. So getting back to the question, I think that you and I are on the same page of that. Baseball just for some reason is just, to me, more captivating, and I think that I think Major League Baseball is blowing it. I went to the mall yesterday because he was looking for a couple of baseball hats, and we were talking to the guy who works at Fan Fever or Sports Fever or whatever the hell the name of that place is. And we were asking him what jerseys sell the most. And I'm going to get somewhere with this. And he said, basketball by far. He goes, we sell a few jerseys every year in football. Usually if somebody
Sports Fever has 7,000 football jerseys on their shelves.
I know. And he said that basketball jerseys sell the best. Baseball hardly sells anything. Football, they have the same 7 or 8 guys that sell a lot of jerseys, but once you have that jersey, you don't need another one.
Right.
So he goes, we don't sell a lot of Aaron Rodgers. We don't sell a lot of Tom Brady because those people already have their jersey. What we sell a lot of are NBA jerseys. And so tying this to the question is the NBA does a far better job of marketing its players. The NFL does a slightly less better job, but a better job of marketing its players. Baseball doesn't market their players for shit. And they're missing out because you're a millennial, I'm a baby boomer, and we both said pretty much without even batting an eye that we would much rather watch a baseball game than anything else. And that I'm in the same boat you are. I probably missed 10 games last year where I didn't tune in at some point to watch or listen or check something out. Baseball's missing the point. They're so worried about taking a couple of minutes off each game that they're losing a group of fans that, for better, we're starting to thin out. And
yeah, I think that's an accurate representation of the way that it's fizzling out. It is. And I really don't think taking 2 or 3 minutes off of the game is going to really change anything. I don't think it's going to be something that ends up hurting the fan or the fan experience. I think it's going to be just fine. But I think that, and this is going to sound really strange, but it's going to be my Willie Cauley-Stein answer. If we're going to based on jersey sales alone, Major League Baseball. Let me flip it the opposite way. Let's go backwards. The 4 major sports. Hockey, the sweaters are just too bulky. They're too warm to wear outside of a hockey rink or go into an event that surrounds your team, right? Football jerseys traditionally are big. They're kind of clunky to wear. Again, unless you're going to a game or Buffalo Wild Wings or a bar to watch, you're not going to wear your football jersey out as a just an everyday wear type of thing. Basketball jerseys they're slim fitting, they're minimal. There's not a lot to them. You can pretty much wear them with anything. And with as popular as the Jordan fashion brand is, when it comes to the fact that Jordan shoes are no longer basketball shoes, they're more of a fashion statement. It's very easy to wear a basketball jersey in public, whether it be your team or a throwback or what have you. It's more of the fashionable approach to wearing basketball jerseys because they're streamlined, they're small, they're easy. You can literally wear a basketball jersey with anything and it's going to work. I think and another thing to that too is, and it's crazy to think, but the old school champion screen print jerseys are making such a huge comeback in the sense of being collectible and fashionable. It's no mistake that basketball jerseys are as popular as they are right now because everyone wants those damn things.
No, I disagree. I mean, I think you're right for your generation.
Right, but let me finish the point because I have one more sport to go. I honestly think that if Major League Baseball went back to the pullover jerseys like they had back in the day, I think you would legitimately see more baseball jerseys sold than you do now. Because I think baseball jersey falls under the same overall umbrella that encompasses a football jersey or a hockey jersey. It's just they're big, they're not uncomfortable, but they're cumbersome to wear in the summertime because they're hot. You have to most people are going to layer them. If you want to wear them open, you have to have a second shirt on, whatever. If they went to the thinner material or if they kept the material the same, because the old pullovers were thick. If they kept the materials the same and made them a pullover shirt where it's more of like a t-shirt rather than a button up, I think baseball jerseys start flying off the shelves. I really do. And I think that's the problem now is it's fashion over function. It's fashion over a lot of things right now, especially like you said, with our generation, everything is more fashionable. But then with your generation, I think, and it's not to say that and I kind of fall under this as well, is they cost so much goddamn money. A basketball jersey you could get for, an authentic jersey is going to cost you $300. At a Kings game, you can get a screen print for $90. You can get a stitched on one for, $220. You can get the iron on, the faux stitching ones for like $140. But baseball jerseys, even for just a basic, like they don't do screen print, so just a basic press on jersey that looks like a stitched on jersey, you're looking at least $150 for the basic one, unless you would like a jersey tee. And football jerseys, the screen print ones they just look terrible. You got to go with the stitched on one. Yeah. And those are going to set you back at least $180. Like, I think that's part of the problem is that Major League Baseball and all these things, they charge so much for a fucking t-shirt essentially that a lot of people don't, they don't want to spend that type of money. Josh, I rocked my A's jersey all the time until I got fat. And there are teams that don't even have names on the back of the jerseys. Yeah. And I think,
so let me tie this all together. So first off, with the jerseys, I think there comes a point when you hit your mid 30s that wearing a jersey just isn't cool anymore. I mean, to see a 50-year-old dude rocking a jersey just isn't good. I mean, it's not a good look. So
in the right setting, it's still fine. But overall, just wearing it to wear it, probably not.
Yeah. So, so again, it goes back to the original question: is what sport would you turn on first? I think if you ask the vast majority, and maybe we'll post a poll up on our Facebook page today. What sport would you go? I think the vast majority would say the NBA, and I think that goes back to who markets their game better. When you have Bryce Harper being the 15th ranked baseball player in the major leagues, and pretty much nobody knowing any of the players ahead of him. I mean, you could put Mike Trout in the Galleria Mall today, and he could walk through without anybody noticing. You put somebody like, I don't know, pick a player, Odell Beckham Jr. You put him in the Galleria Mall, he's going to get mobbed. You put in Harrison Barnes in the Galleria Mall, he's going to get mobbed. And baseball, no matter what anybody says, and I know football is calling it something, baseball's still the king. Baseball still is the best sport that people want to watch. And they're doing a horrible job of attracting viewers. And that goes right to my question of what would you watch and why? And I think the bottom line is Major League Baseball is doing a horrible job of getting their name out there. And I think
baseball is just old, and it's old by nature. And it's one of those things where it's like, if it's broke, don't fix it. They don't want to change anything up. The NFL continues to try to keep things advancing with the color rush uniforms and the alternate jerseys and all that other stuff. Major League Baseball, they don't even do alternates anymore for the most part. They don't do, other than Jackie Robinson Day, or like Father's Day, Mother's Day, it's the same uniform. It's just that niche day. How many
baseball players do you see doing Allstate commercials? How many baseball players do you see doing commercials other than for Major League Baseball?
Right, exactly. And I think part of it is that it's that if it's not fixed, if it's not broken, don't fix it mentality. The NBA does they do the throwback jerseys, they do their city edition jerseys, they have the different floors, they have the different, whatever. They have the sleeve jerseys they did a couple of years ago. Like, they're always keeping it, they're always mixing it up, making you wonder, what's going on. And baseball is just like, no, we're doing our thing. Like, I think if Major League Baseball went the route that minor league baseball goes and has like theme days and jerseys and the different, where it's like, like, for example, the River Cats will do, Star Wars night, and the jerseys are Star Wars themed, and like they have like the different thing on them, or they do like Autism Awareness Day, and it's all the puzzle piece jerseys, or they, like there's that one team in I don't remember what, in Major League or minor league baseball, that did the Tool Time night. It was Home Improvement night, and they had Al Borland there, and everyone was wearing a plaid jersey with a tool belt on it. Like, if Major League Baseball did something fun like that, I think you'd see a lot more interaction and a lot more involvement when it comes to more recognizable. Like, they're not garnering to the younger,
the
younger generation that needs something to keep their interest. We'll call it, they're not pandering to ADD is what it is. People with ADD need something to keep them engaged. Baseball, you go, you sit, you watch, you go home. Like, there's not that pizzazz. You know what I mean? They don't have a way for a mascot to go do an elaborate halftime show with the cheerleaders. They don't have a way for a halftime show or something that draws your attention. There's no musical performances at baseball games. Like, there's nothing that can keep you engaged or excited for the next aspect, except for hoping that one guy hits a ball with a stick and hits it out of the park. It doesn't have that pizzazz. And I think that's where the disconnect is from the younger generation to now. Like us, we grew up on baseball as baseball in its purest form. And I think that there's a lot of people that are looking for that. It's the yawn factor. They want something new, and they want something a little bit more fast paced because their attention spans aren't there, or they get bored, or they want to sit on their phones. Baseball, there's too much downtime in between everything that it's losing it. And I think baseball just needs to be a little bit more exciting. Like you said, throw some players out on commercials.
Yeah. So I think that's more of an issue because you and I both love the game. I mean, we love going to a baseball game. We enjoy it. And part of that is we know the players. We know who the guys are that are playing the game. You take a casual fan, they have no idea who these guys are. You take a casual fan and go to a Kings game, they know who everybody is.
Right.
And I think that Major League Baseball, I think it would be a trickle-down effect if they started marketing their players, getting them out in front of people, getting them in commercials that people
aren't baseball
recognize it.
related. Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to draw people to the game, which are going to have them. It's going to force Major League Baseball to do some of the things that you said, where they're marketing themselves with better jerseys and better stuff. I think, one of the other things about going to a game, and this is in all sports, is it's just too damn expensive. So I think I'd like to continue this conversation somewhere down the road of talking about the differences, but I think the bottom line is, I'd love to hear what TJ says. I don't think he chimed in. What he would rather go to. I'm thinking probably be hockey, but I don't know.
And the other thing too that I think is something that Major League Baseball can do. I'm curious to see like other markets. Like I know the Giants and A's have. Well, the A's don't even do it so much. The Giants with NBC Bay Area have fantastic commercials when it surrounds the Giants and the players are involved and they do all these like goofy ass commercials. I wonder how many other, league or other teams do the same type of marketing, but even if they took the team specific commercials, like I love the Giants commercials when they have Bochy doing goofy shit. Like one of my favorite ones of all time was when they're making fun of Bochy's big ass head and they're like, oh yeah, we had to buy a hat stretcher and all this other stuff, to get the 8.5 hat or whatever. I wonder if it would be even beneficial for those networks to take those commercials and just branch them out within their region. So like within their what's the word I'm looking for? Their territories. If NBC Authentic did their Giants commercials and paid a little bit more money to air them on, Fox 40 or, I don't know, insert station you watch here, but just get them into the different territories to show people that there are faces to the names, just like a regular commercial spot would be, and see if that brought more attention into the game of baseball other than just airing those commercials on the station in which you watch the game from. Because I see those commercials because I'm always on CSM Bay Area because I know the Giants games are going to be on, and they air them during Giants games. It doesn't make sense. So I don't know. Yeah, we can definitely talk about it at another time. I think it'd be a good one to put on the Facebook page, and we'll discuss it. But we'll save it because I think only Matt Pentecost is the last one on. I think we've overtalked our bounds. There is Giants A's today, preseason or spring training. We'd even get to the fact that Major League Baseball is stupid as hell for having 2 regular season games before spring training was over. We can get to that next week. The A's are 2-0 to start the season. They haven't even started the season. I also think that Major League Baseball could follow suit with the Oakland Athletics with ticket packages to get more people into the stadiums as well. We can discuss that at a later time also. But that's pretty much what we have for this week's show. For Greg Veroza, I'm Greg Bull. This has been episode 276. We will be back next week.
Good night, Larry.